go, boy.
Happy Supercross Saturday. Even though there is no race this weekend, we're still gonna have some talk about Supercross. With that said, let's move into Red Bull KTM's Tom Vial reclaims 250 SX East red plate in Indianapolis. Red Bull KTM Factory Racing's defending Eastern Division champion Tom Vial reclaimed the series red plate via second place finish at the first 250 SX East Coast West Coast Showdown race of season 2025 in Indianapolis. In 450 SX, Chase Saxton earned valuable AMA Supercross Championship points with P3 in the Premier Class main event tonight. Vial recorded the fifth fastest lap in combined qualifying on board his KTM 250 SXF Factory Edition, meeting the 250 SX West contenders on track for the first time this year. His form remained consistent from there, racing to fourth in his heat as he prepared for the Showdown main event. A measured ride following a top three start in the sought-ever consistent French standout Vial take a well-earned P2 result in the Showdown on a highly deteriorated track, with the result seeing the two-time MX2 world champion climb into the lead in the 250 SX East point standings following 4 rounds. Well, today was a pretty good day. I started slow in Tampa and Detroit, then Daytona was a good turning point last weekend. I got close to the win, and then the same this weekend. I spent the main event behind Seth Hammaker, and I was trying to catch him, but he was riding good. The track was very tricky tonight, so I'm pretty happy with second, and we're right in the championship, which is where we want to be. 450SX class title challenger Saxton posted the third quickest time in the afternoon's qualifying sessions, dialing in his KTM 450SXF factory edition on the rutted technical Indianapolis layout. In charging to fast start heat, Saxton battled Red Bull KTM factory racing teammate Aaron Plessinger, the cowboy, yeehaw, at the head of the field during the opening laps before taking the lead and taking a commanding victory. A top 3 start in the main event saw the number 4 push the pace in early laps, keeping the pressure on before a late race mishap result in a third place finish. With 5 podiums in 9 races, Saxton sits P2 in the championship as the second half looms. Chase Saxton back on the podium, and tonight was good early on with the heat race win. In the main, the line I was taking in the sand rollers just went away, and I lost the front, of course, which is pretty easy to do, especially when you get down into that clay dirt.
Ew.
It took me 4 or 5 laps to get back into my groove, which I did, but by the time I did, there were only 2 laps to go. It's unfortunate, but it's racing. Now we have a week off to regroup and come out in Birmingham strong. Typically, when I come back from the break in the Supercross season, I tend to be better. So hopefully I could do that again and get some good momentum back on my side. Also equipped with the KTM 450 SXF Factory Edition, Plessinger took 9th in qualifying before a hole shot in his heat race saw the cowboy eventually greet the checkered flag in 4th place. Battling inside the top 5 for the duration of the main event, Plessinger would fall while attempting a pass for 4th, before remounting and continuing an impressive charge, which earned the number 7 5th place at the momentum towards his season continues to build. Aaron Plessinger, that was a really, really good ride. The bike's feeling awesome, and 5th place on this type of night where I hit the ground, I cannot be mad at that, especially with how the season has been going. It's been a wild ride, but we are getting through it and getting better and better. Shout out to Alden Baker, who doing a lot of laps down at the Baker's factory, but it's paying off. Plus a big thanks to the whole team and everyone behind me. 250SX West Class prospect Julian Bumier, Juju, returned to action in Indianapolis, nursing a shoulder injury sustained at the previous Western Division round. The Arizona native fought through the pain, powering his KTM 250 SXF Factory Edition to P7 finishes in both the combined qualifying times and in his heat race. Come the main event, Bumer salvaged an 8th place result, which sees him retain 2nd position in the 250 SX West point standings, and he continues to remain in the title contention leading into Seattle's next round of the region at the end of this month. Julian Bumier. I'm happy with my night in Indy. Obviously, I came a little bit down. I haven't ridden since Arlington, so to get P8, position 8, in the showdown was a good night of salvaging points. Well, we'll get back to therapy this week, get back to 100%, and back on the bike before Seattle. And the next race will be March 22nd, Birmingham, Alabama.
Let's go, boy.
So we'll see you boys then. KTM has released a statement titled Passion Never Goes Bankrupt in response to its recent financial challenges. The company acknowledges that it crashed out of the corner due to moving too quickly, but emphasizes its commitment to getting back on our feet and moving forward. KTM underscores its inner drive, encapsulated by the slogan, "Ready to Race," and draws parallels between the resilience required in racing and its current situation. The company admits that the road ahead won't be easy, but expresses confidence in overcoming hurdles and achieving goals. KTM also of listening to clients and employees, aiming for greater transparency in the future.
Frame updates. The 2025 KTM SX and SXF have updated frames around the rear shock mount and front area. The frame has been streamlined and made lighter, improving chassis flex and cornering. The tank shrouds are made of bi-compound plastics to channel air to the radiators more efficiently. The fuel tank roll is new and more secure, reducing frame scrubbing. Suspension updates. The 2025 KTM XC range has WP-X-Act closed cartridge spring forks and WP-X-Act T-Shock with upgraded suspension settings. The 2025 KTM SX and SXF have 48mm WP-X-Act AER forks with a capsulated air spring and pressurized oil chamber. Other updates. The 2025 KTM EXC lineup has a new fuel tank roll that secures the tank more firmly in place. The 2025 KTM EXC lineup has a new on-off switchgear carried over from the KTM SX range. The 2025 KTM EXC lineup has a reintroduced 125cc KTM Enduro model. KTM also offers a factory performance kit for the 125 SX that includes upgraded engine parts, FMF exhaust, and special engine mapping.
Just a little ASMR for the weekend, and then we'll have another video. Thanks so much for being here, you guys. We hope you're having a good weekend, regardless of your race. Kawasaki has issued an immediate stop sale notice for its 2025 KX450, KX450X, and KX450SR models due to a potential issue with the primary gear's surface durability, which could lead to a failure over time. Dealers are instructed to halt sales and submit product registrations for any units sold prior to this notice. Kawasaki plans to provide repair details to dealerships by mid-April and will notify affected owners to schedule necessary repairs. Customers seeking more information are advised to contact their nearest authorized Kawasaki dealership. When it comes to the machine, we still have some major players out or injured. So let's catch up to speed on who is in, out, or recovering. We'll start with East Coast rider Cameron McAdoo. This guy pretty much has a spot reserved for him on the season injured list yearly. He is too fast for his own good. He is in, but after a big crash in Detroit, where he had the handlebars smack him in the face, resulting in a black eye, broken teeth, and a cut on his cheek, he also is still recovering from an ACL injury. Drew Adams, 250 West Coast rider. This was supposed to be the season for a big debut, and boy was it short-lived. Drew is out with a collarbone injury. He crashed during qualifying in Glendale, in recovery with no press release on ETA of return. The chef, Levi Kitchen. This was heartbreaking to witness in Daytona. Originally, many people from the very start were hoping to see a showdown between him and Deegan, but Levi was reportedly sick, ill, and last minute switched coasts as he is permitted and allowed as long as he did not have involvement or participate in any starts or gate drops for that current coast, which he did not. Now with this over the bars crash nose dive drag, sad to say, looks like he might be out of the running. He is healing from surgery on his collarbone and in recovery for his back. Garrett Marchbanks. He's been back on the track, but still in recovery with after effects of his shoulder injury from the beginning of the season. Ty Masterpool. He also joins his teammates on the list as he crashed in San Diego and sustained some broken fingers. Jorge Prado. Poor Jorge. Me gusta Jorge Prado. Mucho. This was supposed to be his first full-time U.S. career, all set for the season, but is sadly out for the whole rest of the season due to dislocating his shoulder in A2 and required surgery, which he went back home to have done. He is in recovery and taking his time to relax and heal properly. I'll just have to call them later. Indy, are you eating that pup cup? Ooh wee! We got some Ken Roczen German chocolate news. Are you guys missing the racing this weekend? I know I am. Tell me in the chat right now or in the comments down below later if you have any riders or any ideas for content or what type of videos you would like to see me do. Ken Roczen makes major announcement, becomes U.S. citizen. Despite only hosting races in North America, the Monster Energy AMA Supercross grid represents a wide range of nationalities across all its classes, including Australia, France, and Japan. Currently, Ken Roczen raises the flag of Germany, representing a list of notable competitors from Deutschland. Maximilian Nagel competed in the Motocross World Championship until 2019. Butchering these, and I'm sorry. Also competed in the same series until 2003 before becoming the KTM Motorsports director. Adolf Weil, competing from 1960 to 1978, was nicknamed the Iron Man of motocross with his long career and one of the most accomplished German motocross racers of his time. The number 94 Suzuki rider is now an official citizen of the United States. Yesterday was a big day for us, announced Roczen on social media. It is not very often you leave the house as a German and come back as an American. I am finally a U.S. citizen, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Others across the industry recognize the milestone event of Roczen, posting comments of support for the 30-year-old. Congrats and welcome to the club, said retired rider Chad Reed. Lee Greenwood on repeat today. Adam Intnap shared with a laughing emoji. Bet that feels so good, commented Paige Craig, wife of writer Christian Craig. Congrats. Even outside the motocross world, others took note of the day that Roczen became a citizen, including NASCAR Cup Series driver John Hunter Nemechek, I like him, and other All-Star Motorsports, a performance shop and wholesale distributor in Florida. It's not often an AMA competitor becomes a U.S. citizen. Most athletes elect to compete under international visas and declare dual citizenship. That's what I always thought, if their country permits and recognizes it. Last year, Peacock broadcaster Will Christensen, became a U.S. citizen during the NBC Sports broadcast of the Redbud Nationals on July 4th weekend. The broadcast crew celebrated with Jason Thomas bringing a cake to her on the podium. That was sweet. The Super Motocross World Championship has an off weekend and will return for round 10 on March 22nd at Protective Stadium in Birmingham, Alabama. Race day live streaming on Peacock starts at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the gate drop at 7 p.m. on Peacock and SiriusXM channel 85, as well as Telemundo Deportes.
What riders said after Indianapolis Supercross? It was an up and down race day. Cooper Webb, winner. It was an up and down race day. I had a pretty good practice crash that left me a little sore. In the heat race, I was out front and had another mistake that cost me, so I was pretty ticked off. Then in the main event, I got a great start and made a quick move to first. I led every lap and kind of put it on cruise control. I felt great tonight and had a great flow. It was just a dream ride. We've extended the points lead going into the break. I'm excited for what's to come. Justin Cooper. The day started out pretty slow. I made a call with the team and made a big suspension change for me, and it paid off tonight. I felt comfortable with all the big rhythms and the tough track, so I have to give it up to the team on this one. We'll keep working. It's been going well, and we're looking to keep the ball rolling. Chase Sexton. I had a good flow going for the first half of the race, and when I hit that red cross flag for Joey Savatgy's crash, I started losing my flow and ended up going down. Tough track. Battled back toward the end. I had Justin Barcia close behind me, so I just tried to get on the podium, build a little bit of momentum going into this break. I need to get some rest, try and regroup, and come out swinging for the last 8. Justin Barcia. Progress at Indianapolis on challenging track conditions. P4. Weekend off and back at it in Birmingham. Aaron Plessinger. Man, Indy was wild. Was feeling off during the day and the heat race a bit. Then the team dialed me in for the main. Felt so good coming through the pack, then hit the ground and came back to 5th. So pumped with how my bike and body felt. Looking forward to the week off. Malcolm Stewart. Indy! Fans were awesome. P6 for the night. Got another heat win. Going to enjoy the weekend off. Y'all know what I'll be doing. Ken Roczen. Not the weekend we wanted. I was sick all week and had nothing in the tank on Saturday. The day went pretty good as I was an unexpected P1 in quali, but the races were no bueno. But, as Larry likes to say, we keep our nose to the grindstone. Taking Tampa away, this has been my first bad result, and I am working on eliminating that. We will be back in a couple weeks at full health and continue our journey. Seth Hamaker. It feels really unreal to get this win at the East-West Showdown. It has been a while since I've stood on the top step of the podium, so it feels amazing to finally do it again. I got myself off to an excellent start and tried to sprint away in those first couple of laps. It was a tough track out there. You had to did a pretty good job with that. When you're out there in the lead with a little bit of a gap, it's a little challenging to stay focused. I've made a lot of changes and sacrifices this year with moving to Florida and training at the Dog Pound. I'm very grateful that I have people around me that have stuck with me, from Mitch Payton and the whole Kawasaki crew to my family. This one feels really good and I'm super excited. Tom Vial. Slowly getting back in the rhythm, and I felt great tonight. Like Daytona, I was again close to victory, but Seth rode amazing. I'm pretty happy with second place. The track was pretty tricky tonight. Pretty easy to make a mistake. Haiden Deegan. Yeah, today was good. I qualified 1-1, which was perfect for me, and then won the heat race with a pretty good lead, which was cool. In the main event, I got to third place pretty quickly. I was reeling in those guys at the front, and then made a pretty crucial mistake where I ended up going over the berm and into the net. From there, I just had to be smart and ride it in for third because the guy that's second in points on my coast was pretty far back. I just wanted to make some good points, and we did that tonight. RJ Hampshire. P4 in Indy for the first shootout. Made it tough on myself with a very poor start in the main. We'll keep chipping away. Cole Davies. Man, it could have been a really good night for me. I ended up going down early in the main event and was way back, but I reset and made my way through the pack the best I could and came back from 17th to 5th. I'm really happy with my riding tonight, but I need to limit the mistakes. I rode one time at the farm since Arlington because I was super sick the last couple of weeks, so all in all it was still a really good night for me, but I'm always wanting more. I'm looking forward to Seattle. Joe Shimoda. Fought as much as I can yesterday, but needs to be better. Couple week off for West time to better myself. Thank you, everyone. We are gonna continue to push. Julian Bomer. Fought my ass off last night. Seattle up next.
Let's go, boy.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us and listening in while you're on the road, cleaning the house, working in the garage, whatever it may be that you are doing. This is episode 2. Seems like some of you really enjoyed the quick rundown podcast last week, so we figured let's keep it going.
Let's get gritty, everybody.
All right, let's start with the broadcast of Race Day Live. At this time, rumors online were spreading like wildfire about people being turned away if they were to bring a sign in, so they made some sort of rule at the stadium, no signs permitted. Most, or should I say many speculated this was because of the drama going on with Lee Diffie and Ricky Carmichael and Daniel Blair in regards to the Truth video that was dropped prior to the race and weekend by Daniel on his Main Event Moto channel. One person did happen to get away with sneaking one in and even showcased it in the background of Race Day Live as host AC and Justin Brayton were speaking with Steve Mathis. Daniel has seen it and recently acknowledged the moment where it was pretty much snuck in because it was on body. It was a t-shirt. But on a serious note, we are still left to hear, see, or read any statement in response to Daniel's allegations from Ricky or Diffie. Do you think they will ever speak out? If so, when and where would they do it? And how?
Honestly, I don't think they really even have to. Maybe for the good of Ricky, he should probably have something said, probably via X, I guess. I doubt he would do anything on his podcast or anything. And Lee Diffie, he's definitely not going to say anything. He is higher up, and I mean, it's not even worth talking about anymore. After signing the deal with NASCAR, it's just, he doesn't have to deal with it.
With me being a sneaky bitch, I do know Ricky Carmichael has not touched his X account, so I will say I believe he is not going to make a statement throughout X or any social media. If anything, I think they will do it jointly together, probably hiding behind NBC or some sort of management broadcast company or whatever. I think that's the only way they would do it. So it's not them really admitting to it. Just a small little statement, just.
And another thing with Diffie also is he got absolutely roasted on his birthday. So is it really worth bringing it up again in a tweet or anything? Because then people are just going to tear him up for at least 3 to 4 days. Now, if he just is quiet about it, people are going to just forget, especially if he moves out of the sport.
Well, that brings me to my next question. Do we think Daniel dropping that video on Lee Diffie's birthday, was that intentional? Or was it just absolutely coincidental?
Yeah, I mean, they had him plan to go on Race Day Live. So, I mean, unless, I don't know if it's going to make Diffie's day easier because it was his birthday weekend, but probably not.
I don't know, but either way, I think it was pretty iconic in a touche way of Daniel. But personally, I don't think Daniel would do an attack verbally or in any way on purpose on someone's birthday. But it is weird. So I'm probably just going to say that once he found out it was his birthday and it dropped, he was probably like, well, it's too late. It is what it is. I mean, I don't know. Dude ruined my dream career in mainstream. And I don't know, fuck him at this point.
I really don't think it was planned because, like I said, they offered him the spot on Race Day Live. So I think it just happened to be. And I guess it's one of those occasions when a lot of bad shit happens.
Karma.
Things just line up the way they do for a reason.
Yep,
so
karma's a bitch.
Maybe it was meant to be in that aspect.
So if you watched my previous video dealing with Lee Diffie, we watched an interview where they pretty much asked him, did you have it easy going into the broadcasting booth, or was it hard to get into the job and position? And he pretty much was saying that, he was manipulated, he was harassed, and he was told that you need to have tough skin, you don't belong here. Now, it's weird because that's pretty much what Daniel came out saying that Lee Diffie and Ricky were doing to him. Either that is just repeated behavior, and it's true that Lee Diffie did go through that too, and he shouldn't obviously be doing that to Daniel. Or is it he's lying, and he tried to come out with that first, because the interview was a year ago, when he thought Daniel was going to probably say something in public. So last episode we talked about RJ's very sweet moment and win. This past race in Indy, we witnessed the Rockstar Energy Husky rider race to 4th place position in the 250 East Coast West Coast Showdown. He was pretty solid throughout the heat race. In the main event, we saw him fall out of the top 10, in the early stages, trying to catch some footing, but had a strong, impressive comeback ride, climbing to the challenge, surpassing all those horrible ruts and the track changes. But he did overall end up in 4th with decent points to collect towards the championship title. So were we really shocked to see this outcome from RJ, or is it exactly what we expected?
That's a pretty good ride for RJ, really, for East-West. I mean, everybody was kind of all over the place. Definitely surprised, kind of, by Haymaker winning. Vial holding up, but it was a loose track, so the track was a big challenge. Changed up everything a lot, and the shootouts are always a roll of the dice.
So the official results for the 250 East and West in Indianapolis was first place Seth Haymaker, second place Tom Vial, third place Haiden Deegan, fourth place RJ Hampshire, and fifth Juju, Julian Beaumier. How do we feel about this top 5 overall?
I mean, it's a pretty good top 5, really. I mean, like I said, kind of surprised about Seth, but at the same time, not. I mean, good for him to go from a factory ride to a privateer back to a factory as kind of like a fill-in rider. Said Tom is a champ, and like a sandy track, loose track, he's going to have the control. The whoops were kind of a joke. Having that little jump into it kind of just killed the momentum. And, I mean, Juju, decent. I mean, was it elbow or collarbone? I can't quite remember. So, I mean, everyone's just kind of probably bent about Deegan not winning.
What? I'd say, look, this order, I don't like it. Shouldn't be that way, okay? Juju should be at least second or third. Haiden obviously should be first place. RJ, I would say, I like him, so we'll give him 4th. But Tom Vial, I would expect him in 5th, honestly. He's not really... he's not good in the whoops, and he's not as fast and as memorable as last year.
But what about Forkner? Going to LCQ, and I'm not even sure where he finished in the end. If he was he around the 8th, 10th? I don't even know.
Yeah, he had it pretty rough. And he's grown on us. He was honestly one of the fastest riders I remember being out there, but just like Adam Cincerillo, always has injury, chronic problem that stems from an injury, and recently they've been talking about how they don't know what to do at this point. They wanted to give him a ride with Triumph and see how it goes. He had some crazy brain surgery not that long ago, but it's taking a hit. I think a lot of people are kind of like, I don't think he's going to bounce back.
Well, it's a lot to bounce back, too. Like you said, I think when you really started watching a lot, was it 2018, 19, maybe a little bit after? I don't know. Like you said, Forkner was winning.
I know this doesn't really matter, but I feel he is too quiet off the track, and it kind of affects his career and status. It shouldn't, but honestly, I feel it does. He gets forgotten when the dude is typically a champ. Management needs to, I guess, step that up. But the only other thing I know about him and his personal life off the track is that he is always liking Jorge Prado's sister's photos on Instagram. Like, I am not even kidding. But that's about it. The skill and the talent is very always appreciated and respected, but personalities is what also makes things enjoyable with the sport to watch and be entertainment. So in that department, I think he lacks. But also on the track, he is always forgotten.
Yeah, a lot of the foreign riders, I don't know, I feel like they're quiet, kind of easier for them. Especially the French riders. If they're kind of loud and outspoken, they come off as divas. Like Dylan Ferrandis. Like, we like him, but sometimes he sounds like he's bitching when really he just wants his bike a certain way because, you know, the French got a flow.
Oui. So this brings me to another 250 rider, Julian Beaumier. So him and Deegan were expected to be neck and neck, side by side, back and forth, and have this feud on track because it was supposed to replace him and Levi's. But we haven't really seen much about that. Juju is kind of calm when Deegan does start doing some taunting and stirring the pot. But I don't know, maybe that chillness and that main focus, showing that he will not retaliate, just kind of made it dead in the water. But Haiden does have that dog in him, and he's half Brian Deegan, so he has Metal Militia blood descent in him. and he is a little shitster, and he does well when he talks shit. So hopefully we see him back in that. But I do really wish we would see a real true battle between those two.
Oh, as you know, I was going for Juju, but with the injury and everything, I feel like he just hasn't been up to speed for sure. If he was, I think he'd have a chance, because Deegan, honestly, kind of struggles when he doesn't have to start. He'll get a decent finish. Podium is good finish, but...
But do you think the shit-talking was taking it too far?
No, I don't know. I think he was just somebody, you know? That's how he was raised. Like you said, Juju kind of doesn't really react, because, I mean, he was a pro jet ski rider, too, so he's been around the scene with people. He knows how to act.
True. And Deegan really doesn't need to talk smack to back up his riding. We all know he's going to be one of the greats, in my opinion. You know? He's skilled, he's talented, and deep down through videos that we see him in his everyday life, he seems pretty down to earth and good-hearted for the most part, and actually more mature than most people give him credit for. So this season, it seems like he's off to a shitty start, honestly. Do you think he's ever going to recover, or this is just going to be a season known as one of his worst?
I think he's going to definitely recover. Like you said, he's one of the best talents out there. You know he's fast. He's just got to figure it out, kind of like Jet did. I mean, he's not hitting the ground like Jet did all the time, but once he really gets those starts locked in and figures that he doesn't have to push it as hard as he does to go faster than other people, he'll do it. And like you said, he is more mature than people think. I think he's just been raised around bros and kind of doing whatever he wants, but you can tell he's got like a good head on his shoulders still.
Which brings me to Yamaha Star Racing. Why are they so damn good this year?
It's years. How long has it been? That's kind of my question to other teams. Like, how is this 250 Star Yamaha that much better than everyone else's bikes? They got good riders and stuff, but I mean, Max is doing good on it. Anyone that rides a Star Yamaha does great. 250. It's been over 5 years of that 250. Just everybody talks about it. Like, let me just ride one and see what it's really about.
Then what is your opinion about KTM and its new changes?
What, going to China? That sucks, kind of. Honestly, I'm more sad about Husqvarna probably shutting down again. That's just one of my all-time favorite brands. Like, my dad had one. It's just one of the old bikes.
Jumping to 450, let's talk a little bit about Malcolm Stewart. Mookie! So everybody keeps saying the same question. Is he going to be this one-hit wonder? Is it only because good? We all know that it is in their family blood to do well on the track. I'm going to say I think he's going to get a lot of podiums, but not another win.
Old man James is only good at walking the track. Let's be honest now. Come on. No, I think Stewart, like, once he won, it definitely ignited something in him a little bit. Maybe got his mind off fishing a little bit, even though he mentioned it. It probably made him think, like, yeah, I can hang. And, I mean, he's been, he's been in the top 5 again, and he was another podium after that, so that's pretty good. So if you're in the top 5 or podium positions, you definitely have a chance to win, because Chase Sexton's in front of you. He's just going to tuck the front.
And look, what I mean is, I hope we do see another actual win from Stewart, but sometimes it's all up to chance. Also, we have to remember, just because you were fastest in qualifying and had no errors while you were riding in the race, doesn't guarantee a win. He will definitely be getting more in the future, but I don't know about making him a champ this season. So in Indy, we saw this track turn into an absolute disaster and mess. Do we feel the 450s are causing a little too much of ruts and problems?
It could be that in the sand tire, like some people have said. It could be the track building too, but a long time ago when they built the 4-strokes, they started with 400s to compare with the 250 2-strokes. And then once they started modifying the 400s and get 426s and then like lightening them up and getting better, higher revs than the 450s, obviously they're way faster than the 250s and they're just torque. So they're just ripping the track apart. And then match that with the sand tire. It's just eats them up. So even if it is somewhat the track building, the bikes are obviously just eating the tracks up. Nobody can race 250 two-strokes, which everybody kind of wants. So you could do an in-between class. I think you need to somehow convince the companies to build like a 300 or a 350 four-stroke. That's all you need. The 450s are so overpowered. I mean, yeah, you can still build the 500s and stuff, but as far as racing. So then you could bring 250s back in, two-strokes, and actually have them maybe compete. It'd be interesting, and it would mix it up.
If we do that, can we please call it the In-Betweeners? Please?
Let us know in the chat, because I feel like if you were to go to a 300 two-stroke to match up with 450s, it's just, I don't know if they could do it. I feel like 450s need to go down a little bit, and it would help the tracks. And people really, like we said, they don't need that much power. Yeah, if you're going out to the dunes and all that, get a 450 or a 500. If they start building a 350, then, build a 500 for the next step up.
I wanted to bring this up because we're seeing so many crazier injuries. I don't know. I just feel like this season has been the worst. Where we have I think 3 guys out with a punctured lung because their ribs were cracked.
What?
And then we have also there's 3. There's actually another 3 with back injuries. Where, it can be really scary that you could lose your functions and just be paralyzed.
Well, it's a tough sport, lady. That's why it takes a certain few to really do it. That's why it's kind of surprising to see some of the people, their attitudes. You wouldn't think that they're as tough as they are, but to get to a pro level, you've definitely hurt yourself and know how to handle it. I think it has to do with the tracks a little bit. Obviously, they're going really fast, and it's just a split decision, or something happens and you crash. It's just like football season. Sometimes it's like half the team goes down with injuries. It's just an individual sport, so more people are down.
When you mean riders that don't seem tough, are you talking about Chase Saxton? Wee!
Yeah, that Avril Lavigne guy.
I think they really need to work on finding the right mixture. I do agree that these tracks are getting changed up so many times and they're doing it different ways now. We're always hearing about the whoops and how some are steamrolled and some are just heavy packed. I don't know. But I do think that, and having so much power at the same time, and these bikes are going faster and faster every year, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more dangerous accidents.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to see somebody get hurt. It's going to happen every 5-10 years. It's going to happen. All the more that people need to look into why these guys need to get paid a lot more than what they get paid. I said it's kind of an individual sport as far as who's hitting the ground. Your mechanic ain't hitting the ground, and your sponsors aren't hitting the ground. You could, like she said, be in a wheelchair, gone, whatever. So you should be getting paid just as much as these football players.
The Kooksy argument, where we see all these incidents with the tough blocks, whether they're just smacking into them, they're in the way, and we also have where the banners on them get tied up in their tires and such.
Oh, shit.
I really don't think they're serving any purpose besides advertisement. And Kooksy had brought up these other types of, I don't want to say tough blocks, but same concept.
They're like paneled doghouses, pop-out little paneled doghouses. I'm sure they've seen them. I think it was in the WSX he was talking about them. And another thing he had talked about was that supposedly the sponsors pay for certain spots that the camera's actually going to show. So certain blocks might be in certain areas. It might be a bigger block next to the whoops because they know they're going to show that section. Like a bigger block next to the whoops doesn't make sense because you need a little room in case you run off. Stuff like that doesn't make sense.
I don't mean to sound like a Debbie Downer. It's just we need to have better safety and regulations in this sport. I want to see these riders live their dreams out, race, win. I want to be able to watch and enjoy that as well. So if they are getting hurt, it doesn't serve purpose or good for anybody, you know? What we really want to have an open discussion about is better safety, better quality, so everyone can keep this sport alive. So make sure you tell us in the comments down below how you feel about those topics and also about the in-betweeners. If the 450s are just way overpowered. And we will see you in another episode real soon. I'm Pretty Gritty.
And I'm Nitty Gritty, and come check me out at Nitty Gritty's Garage.
See you soon.